Hello YouTube, my name's Nero, and today we have some Borderlands 1, the original Borderlands. I don't feel as though I've ever actually featured any Borderlands stuff here on my Let's Play channel. If you haven't noticed, I'm not doing this live. This isn't a Let's Play portion of a video. It's actually post-commentary. I did record that gameplay earlier on today, so you guys can enjoy some Borderlands 1 gameplay while I cover a bit of news regarding the Borderlands franchise. Let's talk about this. Over there in Australia, which you guys may think of 2K Australia, who are the people that ended up making Borderlands pre-sequel, over there in Australia, on their classification board, they have posted Borderlands the Remastered Edition. What does this mean? It means that over there on the classification board, which they gave a rating of like 15 plus, I think it was, to this new game, it's going to be called Borderlands Remastered Edition. What does this mean? There is going to be a new Borderlands game coming relatively soon, one would imagine. So this is going to be pretty cool. It's a remastered game. It's going to be remastering of Borderlands. Now, what's really tricky about this, and the tricky thing to keep in mind, is on this classification post, they ended up listing Gearbox Software and 2K Games, who are the two people that worked together to make Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. And they also listed 2K Australia, who was the people that made Borderlands the pre-sequel. So we don't know which Borderlands game they're going to be remastering. Now, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that come to mind with this. There's definitely a lot of things that really come to mind with this. Number one, is it going to be an HD remake or is it going to be an actual remastering? Because there's a very distinct difference between the two. You think of an HD remake. Now, what an HD remake would be, let's say, for example, the original Borderlands 1. Let's say they did an HD remake. Basically, in an HD remake, they would just go ahead and update the graphics. That's really it. They would make the graphics look a bit better. Because you're looking at this gameplay here, it's like, yeah, you can definitely tell these graphics are a little bit dated. In an HD remake, all they would do is update the graphics. Now, if they were to actually do a remastering, usually remastering means they're going in and they're actually improving the game in various ways, including the graphics. So in a remastered edition version of the original Borderlands, they would update the graphics, kind of bring them up to par with the Borderlands 2 and the Borderlands pre-sequel graphics, as well as do some other things to kind of make the game work a little bit better, like add in FOV sliders, for the love of God. I was like feeling really weird doing this gameplay. Some people get motion sickness based on like their field of view. I think I was starting to get a little bit of that while I was recording this footage. It's like, this feels weird, you know? It just, I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't played Borderlands in probably a month or so. So maybe that might have been it. Even though the last time I played Borderlands was on the pre-sequel and that has FOV sliders, and perhaps that. Maybe they'll add something like an FOV slider. You look at the interface. The interface itself is actually very, very dated looking at it. In the original Borderlands, there's tons of differences between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. And Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel are basically the same thing. So I think we can just tie in the pre-sequel whenever I say Borderlands 2. They're very different in a lot of different ways, just in terms of layout. Like back during Borderlands 1, you actually had what I think were called proficiencies, where instead of badass tokens, you basically got proficiencies. The more you use shotguns, the better your character was with shotguns. You would get increases to the fire rate and the reload speed and to the damage of your shotguns by leveling up your shotgun. Same thing went for combat rifles, same thing went for sniper rifles, and every other little thing into the game. That is something, in the remastered edition of the original Borderlands, would they keep that system, or would they implement something like the badass token system? Would they end up doing anything like that? Who knows? Who knows? Once again, I'm just kind of pointing out that I bet it would be the original Borderlands if they were to actually do a remastering. So an interesting thing to point out is the fact that Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, as well as the pre-sequel, were all, shall we say, previous gen titles. Basically, they were only available on the PC, which of course that's where I usually play it on, as well as the Xbox 360 to PlayStation 3. They were not available on the Xbox One to PlayStation 4, which kind of brings up the thought, perhaps a remastered edition, which would probably end up making more money than remaking the original Borderlands, a remastered edition of Borderlands 2 might be coming to next-gen consoles. That's very interesting. That's something that could end up happening. But I would say that the Borderlands 2 graphics, like what's there to remaster about Borderlands 2? One, the game's not really that old. It is a few years old, but really, Borderlands 2 is not super old. And the graphics are pretty great. If you compare graphics on the Xbox 360 version of Borderlands 2 versus Ultra Settings PC version, they're really not that much different. I mean, sure, that you can tell which one's which, but they're not really that much different. Then you look at what happened with the pre-sequel. The pre-sequel came out just this year, actually like just a few months ago, and it has the exact same graphics as Borderlands 2. So if they were to remaster Borderlands 2, like, what is there to remaster? I mean, putting it on next-gen consoles, sure, the graphics would be slightly better, but that really wouldn't be anything. That wouldn't really be that much of a remastering. So I really think of all the games, they would probably redo Borderlands 1, which is the game that, of course, starts off the entire series. If you guys haven't played Borderlands 1, it's great. I understand that those of you guys out there that are Borderlands fans, chances are probably a lot of you end up starting out in Borderlands 2, and with good reason. I honestly think Borderlands 2 was better than Borderlands 1 in every single respect. there. I said, I mean, I really think it was better. Maybe aside from I like weapon proficiencies. I really like that. I like being rewarded for using a certain thing and catering to your own playstyle. So if I'm a shotgun player, I like the fact that my shotguns are a lot stronger with proficiencies as compared to badass tokens. I think that's the one thing between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 that I would prefer in the Borderlands 1 version. But I think you go back and look at the game, man. It's really, really fun. If you haven't played, I definitely suggest you guys do. That's where we first meet all the original Vault Hunters, like the side characters like Roland and Lilith and Mordecai and Brick in Borderlands 2. Those were the actual Vault Hunters in Borderlands 1. You can play as them. It's really cool. There's no Handsome Jack running around. You know, you've got the entire thing. You got the original opening of the vault, and you've got just everything about the game. You get to meet Scooter for the first time, and just you get to see places that you hear talked about in Borderlands 2 but never actually got to see, like the rest of the arid Badlands and like New Haven. You get to see that, and there's a bunch of cool places to go, and it's really, really interesting if you're a Borderlands fan. If you haven't played Borderlands 1, you should, and because of that, I really feel as though they should be remaking the original Borderlands. Redo that, man. Basically update those graphics a little bit, kind of clean up the interface a little bit. Some of it is very confusing. Like, for example, on the PC port, which I think is only a PC port issue, you're not allowed to look at your sniper rifle proficiency. You just can't hover over it for whatever reason. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like broken. It's part of the port. They messed that part up. And so you can't even look at that. Smooth out things like that, and I think we would have a pretty awesome game on our hands. I definitely think that would be pretty cool. I would love to be able to play through Borderlands 1. I was actually considering here on my Let's Play channel, because the pre-sequel's over. You know, I did the entire playthrough of the pre-sequel, and I did some legendary weapon guides of the pre-sequel, but I really haven't had a whole lot of motivation to go and farm all the other legendaries, because the Ultimate Vault Hunter pack's going to be coming out. Or maybe it's already out. God, I haven't kept up with that, but I know they announced the Ultimate Vault Hunter pack upgrade is already going to be coming. And that's going to be pretty cool for some players. And so I really haven't felt like a need to go ahead and start grinding legendaries and stuff like that if I'm just going to be losing them to an upgrade expansion that's going to be coming out relatively soon. So it's like, oh, why would I do that? So I have really no reason to play the pre-sequel anymore. So I'm like, maybe I play through the original Borderlands 1. I've never posted any Borderlands 1 stuff on my channel. I think that would be pretty interesting and pretty fun. And yeah, I was thinking about doing that. Then I saw this news that came out. It came out a few days ago. And I'm like, huh. Well, now maybe do I wait on the Remastered Edition? Because I don't know. I don't know, man. The original Borderlands was pretty fun. I definitely suggest you guys all playing that. But yeah, that is today's video, I suppose, over here on Nearest Let's Plays. Just saying, if you guys don't know, I like to cover a little bit of news, especially over on Nearest Cinema. You guys know I like to cover new stuff. There is going to be a new Borderlands game coming, and yeah, we don't know what it is yet, though. It could be a remastering of the pre-sequel onto next gen. Who knows? If anything, I would definitely think it's going to be the original Borderlands. They're going to be remaking that because it's so ridiculously out of date now in terms of the graphics and the mechanics, and it's clunky. It feels clunky when you're running around, man. It definitely needs a little bit of polish. But at the same time, old graphics aren't necessarily bad. Looking back and like going back and playing the original Borderlands, you definitely get the nostalgia, and you feel like you're still in the Borderlands universe, and so it's definitely not that bad of a thing. But I would definitely think it'd be awesome if they were to go ahead and remake the original Borderlands on next-gen systems and PC, of course, and just have it be there. At least, if anything, they'd probably bring it up to the graphic quality of Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. And by doing that, that would be interesting, man, because we would see New Haven with these new graphics. You know, we would see Firestone before all the events that happened in Borderlands 2. We get to see that and all of its glory with all of its new graphics and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, that seems like it would be pretty freaking awesome. But here's a big question I want to bring up real quick before we end off the video here. What does a remastered edition of Borderlands, how is DLC going to work with that? Because you guys know Borderlands, they love them some DLC. Now, you can't remaster a game without remastering all the DLC, right? So, even the original Borderlands has tons of DLC. Now, if they come out with a remastered edition of Borderlands 1, is that going to come with a DLC, or are they going to be periodically releasing us remastered DLC? We'll have to see about that, but I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Hopefully, you guys all found it helpful and informative, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. Of course, let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in this kind of thing. It seems like the kind of thing that you would buy, and which game of the Borderlands games would you guys like to see remastered? Would you guys like to see a remastering of Borderlands 1 on the next-gen consoles, of Borderlands 2 on the next-gen consoles, or for crying out loud, the pre-sequel on next-gen consoles? Let me know about that. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.